sometimes it's necessary for us to reinvent ourselves, but we're just far too scared to do it, to take that action. So,
because it's scary to start something new.
It is.
And what if you get rejected? And what if you don't like it? Or what if you change your mind? Or XYZ thoughts that we have.
What's up, y'all? You're tuning in to the Here to Uplift podcast. If you've been here before, welcome back. And thank you for being a part of our Uplift community. If you're new here, woohoo! Thanks for joining us, and we hope you continue listening and engaging with our community, where we center the stories of inspiring and impactful entrepreneurs and community leaders. I'm Lolo Fisher, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to the Here to Uplift podcast. I'm your host, Lolo, and I am excited to bring back not only my friend, but an amazing entrepreneur, Xenia MB Herrera.
Yay!
Introduce yourself, girl.
My name is Xenia, and I am so excited to be here. First of all, it's an honor to be back. I can't even believe it's number 2. But I am from California, Northern California, and I help women make money online, monetize, and rebrand yourself.
I love it. And I've gotten to see you rebrand yourself over the time, which is super exciting because you're the first person I've actually brought back on the podcast. And yes, excited for that. There's also a reason for it, right? I like to see people practice what they preach. So you're not just telling people, hey, do this, hey, do this. On your social media, in your YouTube videos, everything, you're showing the receipts of your own work, how it's worked for you, and then how it's working for others. Right. So I'm super excited about this.
Me too.
I kind of want to jump right into what's in front of you. So for those watching, she has is it the Dream Year Business Workbook?
This is the Dream Year Business Reset, and I've actually already had this for a while.
Okay.
My husband and I, every single year, we do some sort of reset, right?
Okay.
Like something like what happened this coming year and what's going to happen in the next year. And we used to just do it scrappy. Like, let's get a notebook and just what happened good, what was bad, how much money did we make, how much money did we not make, and all of those. But I think recently in the past 4 years, I've put it into a cute PDF. And
right.
Every year it gets so much cuter. Like, this is pretty cute. But aside from that, it's really a guide and prompts, kind of like journaling prompts. Some people are like, where do I even start setting goals? Like, how do I even, New Year's resolution, but to the next level.
I feel like as we mature and as we get older, it shifts from just goal setting to more so creating action plans. But then there's also kind of a controversy around it of goals are meaningless. You need to actually just set your intentions and then do action, because a lot of folks don't know how to set goals that are actually effective and achievable. So I love that this workbook has a mix.
Yes, it does. And one thing, because I know that a lot of people are against, like you said, it's controversial. Some people are pro New Year's resolutions and some are against. But I think about it like this. For the normal, maybe new creator, non-entrepreneur, they're on that wave of the new year, new me. So why not just go with that roller coaster and that energy?
Yeah, I think it's, for me personally, I love setting goals all the time. But the more I'm focused on entrepreneurial goal setting, it becomes more about quarters. So I set goals for every quarter. So New Year's resolutions are kind of wrapped into that. So most of my goals or resolutions for 2024, I actually just set Q1 goals. And then there's some general ones for the entire year that are less specific because, it really depends on each quarter's productivity and how much I'm achieving that section of goals.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So why did you create this? What was the inspiration?
The inspiration was, like I said, we started off scrappy and I wanted
wait. What do you mean by scrappy?
David and I, when we started our business, we would just sit down and just think about, okay, what are we going to do better next year? Just sit together and write on a sheet of paper that we would probably lose and then find in the middle of the year. But I wanted something else that was a little bit more formal. And then when I started my network marketing business, a lot of the girls were like, okay, how can we get better? So I made them a sheet. And then the following year, I'm like, okay, but we have to focus on money too. So let's focus on money. The following year after that, we're like, okay, but what about our social media? We got to revise our social media. I think this version of it is a mixture of our lifestyle, what we want to do, our money, because I feel like in the creator space, although we're entrepreneurs, but in the creator space specifically, it's just creators, like they don't focus on the business aspect. So we need to do that. And I just really want, as women, for us to be a little bit more focused on the financial side of our business.
Right.
Because we're like in this soft girl era that everybody wants to be in. And I'm like, well, what about the money? Let's make money too.
Yes.
So I think that's what motivated me.
Right. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Like, you can make money and be a soft girl.
Right.
I'm saying soft girl in quotes for those who can't see, because I'm still trying to understand it. Like, I understand the aesthetic of a soft girl, but like, most people who are getting to that aesthetic have worked their butts off and hustled really hard. So
that's another conversation.
I was like, how soft is soft?
Right, right.
Okay. I'm excited because I got like extra questions on
Perfect.
here for you.
Whatever you have for me, I'm ready.
Okay, so let's do story time. I want to hear a story about a pivotal moment in your rebranding process and like what impact it actually had on your business. Because I'm hearing how, you know, the changes happened over the years of you and David, like really just starting fresh in your business to now finding success. And I know you've told your story of it having highs and lows, like you made money, then you lost money, and then you made it back. But what was that biggest change point that comes to mind now of you really understanding what you needed to do differently?
So when the last time that we were together, I was in a crossroad of, should I let go of my network marketing business? Because,
I didn't even know that.
Well, I was in a place where I was making money, but the joy was not there anymore. And I didn't understand that until now that I'm doing my reset and all. I'm like, why was I so unhappy? I was making money, but how do I incorporate it? I want to do YouTube. And in YouTube, I'm scared. Like, what if they do anti-MLM videos on me? Like, I don't want to be that anti-MLM, or, you know how it is. So I was in that crossroad even before we got into our podcast. And I guess the moment was when I was in one of those, virtual seminars or whatever.
Okay.
I attended on one of those. And the questions that they gave me, I'm like, but I love this business. So what happened? And I really had to look at what was that turning point where I stopped being joyful for my business? Why am I only focused on the financial if I started this because I wanted purpose? So really taking a look at that made me focus on, okay, how can I incorporate both? Because I want to do YouTube. I want to do my course creation, but I also really want to continue loving this business that I once said yes to.
Yeah. So this is interesting to me that you bring this up, because I've had conversations over the past year of when, maybe you disagree. I welcome disagreement.
Okay.
If the case, but of course.
Fight.
I know.
Fight.
My thought is there's been a lot of conversation about, is it more important to make money than to fuel your passion or something that brings you joy if whatever you're doing doesn't do both? So there's many people out there who are blessed and lucky that what they love doing, what brings them joy, also makes them money. But that is not the case for a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs that have multiple businesses going on or multiple facets of their life that are making money, but maybe not actually making money.
Right.
So, like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's more important to make money now, even if it's not bringing you joy, or do you just need to focus on what brings you joy?
I think, well, I see it with my husband's business. He's like my main entrepreneur that I always watch because I see his business.
You see all the behind the scenes. Yeah.
So he started flipping couches last year and he made a lot of money doing it, right? Do you think that he likes to clean couches? Absolutely not. I remember he would clean couches in the cold. He literally was doing this time last year. He was freezing. He hated it. But that income that he brought home, that was able to give us a lot of opportunities, and we were able to, get rid of all our entire debt and then get business credit. So I believe that you don't necessarily have to follow your passion, but you have to be somewhat joyful of what you do. So that's probably not the answer you were looking for. But I don't think that you'd have to necessarily follow your passion. So for example, if I'm talking about my product in my network marketing company, how can I make it joyful for me and incorporate what I'm good at, my gift? Maybe I can incorporate course creation that I've learned. It doesn't necessarily mean that I love this product with this ingredient and all of that. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does kind of. I guess the way I've been reframing it for myself and trying to figure it out now is that I feel like you always need to be doing something that brings you joy,
right.
but that doesn't necessarily need to be your money maker. That was my more recent realization. But at the same time, if you're putting all of your time and energy into that thing that's not a money maker, of course you're going to be struggling.
Right,
and then
right.
that just brings more stress and, you know, the ripples come down into your life.
I
So
agree.
that has been, I mean, that's even part of my career change, but that is probably a tangent because I actually do love real estate.
Right.
So it's a little different, but just in terms of before I actually got my license and started real estate, I was doing other work that I'm like, I am great at this. My skill sets are perfect.
Right.
Like some of the training and consulting I've done, even sometimes I love it and sometimes it's draining, but it was what's bringing me money in the meantime so that it can fuel the business that I'm really passionate about.
And even real estate, it's not like you're like, oh my God, I want to sign escrow so bad. Like it's not every part of your business is going to be your favorite. You just have to figure out how you can focus on your gift in the business that you're in, and you can also make money.
Yes. Speaking of every part not being your favorite, let's talk money. Because I think that's a lot of people's least favorite. Making money is great, but managing the money, far too many entrepreneurs, especially those getting started, just kind of skip over. So money mindset, this was one of the things that you wanted to bring up today. So talk me through it.
I think that this is actually one of the biggest reasons why I was losing joy is seeing all of these Instagram like comparison, right? Like, why am I not making money? And I don't even know, we already know this, you're not supposed to be comparing yourself, but why are these girls making so much money? And I've been putting in the work. I show up every day. I do this, I do that. Like I serve so much and I'm not making any money. But in reality, you don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. And when you are first starting and you make your first juicy paycheck or you get your first juicy commission or whatever, now you want to blow it on all these things that don't matter. And you have to focus on, you know how it is. Like you need to learn how to manage $10 so you can manage $10,000 so you can manage $100,000. And I had to learn that the hard way. And my husband put me on a budget. It was not fun. He put me on a budget, but that taught me, I would say like the last 2 years, like 2021 and 22 was the budget years. And I hated it. I like, to the point where I resented him. Like, how do you not, like, I'm making all this money, you need to let me use it. But that really helped us get forward to now we're like looking into business credit and like getting bigger limits because of that budget that, let's be honest, he taught me and kind of forced it on me. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Spousal interference.
Right. I just think that there's a lot of people that don't really think that budgeting is smart. They're like, why not just make more money? But why not do both? Why not learn how to budget and make more money?
Yeah, I like that. It is a both and for sure, because even with my spending area is groceries and food in general, especially now having a baby. Like I do not want to cook when I'm exhausted half the time. And then when I do want to cook, I'm like, I am holding a baby and he's crying. And like, what does that look like anymore? But for reals, I don't know all the questions to ask when it comes to money sometimes. Like, for example, right now, I'm really trying to learn where to invest, like the right places, because there's clearly a key to building generational wealth, but it's not just one pathway. However, I've always just had the saving and budgeting perspective, like save budget.
Right.
Then becoming an entrepreneur, exactly what you're saying, it moved into make more. Like if you want more, make more. If you want more, make more. So now these two places are coming in, but I think there's this third category that I'm still learning, but a lot of people have already figured out. Although I don't think enough people in our communities have figured it out of like where to truly invest for passive income generation and for it to just be rolling in. I know we talk about like real estate, or there's some aspects of living benefits and life insurance, trusts, all of that. that's the stage I'm currently trying to figure out so that I can understand it.
I'm with you, sister, because I'm not a pro at all. And I know David is the main one that he's like super invested in. And what I can tell you is that we want to make sure that Malia is set up. So we're trying to set things up for her. Like she has her cute little account. It's so cute. It's getting interest. Yeah, she has an S&P 500 account. It's so cute. It's like getting little interest. It totally touches my heart. But we like want her to be part of my credit card so she can, build credit that way. Basically, our whole entire point is for her to be set up when she's older. But I can't tell you every single thing because I don't know, girl.
Okay, well,
it's okay.
This isn't on the list of questions, but since you brought it up,
oh God,
I was just talking with my mom about this, like when traveling for holidays and stuff, about talking about how we set kids up. We'll say it that way. But like setting them up for success. And I was talking about like, I don't want them to have to worry about money. But then she was kind of pulling back this concept of like, but if they don't actually deserve or are working hard to earn that money, you don't want them to just be getting money once they're an adult and then they're like not working for it. So I was like, yeah, I think there's like an in between. But like, what do you think on that? Like, especially now that you're already starting those accounts with them and she's like seeing little money come in. Like if she gets to a point where she's 18, which, this is not what we're planning at all. But if she gets to a point where she's 18 and she's got money coming in and doesn't feel like working, like what does that look like for you as a parent?
Don't quote me, okay? Don't bring this back in like 18 years. But I don't really want her to know that, who knows where we're going to be in 18 years, but I don't really want her to know that she has all this money. I definitely want her to learn. If she wants to go to school, great. If she wants to start her own business, that's fine too. I want her to be set up just in case. So if she's like, look, I want to do this, I want to start this business, she'll have credit for her to get business loans and all of that. But I don't want her to be a spoiled brat either. Exactly. I do want her to know the value of money and the value of work, but I want her to have a chance. Whether she wants to go to school and invest that there, great. If you want to start a business with mom, dad, or by yourself, let's do it. You're already set up. So I kind of want to have like a backup plan, but I don't want her to be a spoiled brat.
Watch her like bring back this episode like, hey mom, I listened to your episode.
Give me my money.
Run me my money, girl.
Right.
Okay, so I love it. Here's another question. Balancing being a mom, entrepreneur, and a coach really to a lot of your clients is challenging, I'm assuming, especially me trying to learn how to be a mom. It's challenging. So how do you manage all these roles effectively?
You're going to hate my answer because I'm still learning. So my husband just went back to the office. He's been working from home since literally since we got married. So 8 years. And it's been a huge change for me. It's been the biggest shift ever. I feel like I'm like, I feel it right here. It's a lot. But I can't tell you that I have perfected it at all. I just have to figure out a way to just be okay with the day. Like, did I do enough for what I said I was going to do? So if the laundry is just going to stay there, I'm going to be fine with that. I'm not going to be so hard on myself. If I didn't get back to somebody and I said I would, I just update them. Hey, I didn't get to it. I will get to it tomorrow. And although that might not be the greatest way to go about it, we're looking for help. Yeah. I think this year that's our biggest goal. Like, who can we have at home to help us, whether that's with my kid or the home or whatever it is. Yeah. So I can't say that it's going as I planned yet, but that's our goal for 2024.
You really don't know until you're in it. Like, you really don't. Because when Anthony and I were originally talking about building a family, we were on different sides of like having help, right? In a sense. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down to hire somebody to like clean like regularly or do a deep clean once a month, but I really want to be taking on these things myself. And like, I like things a certain way. I'm a little type A, like, and even when we would have folks come in to clean, it was like, I still wanted like certain things
that's
done differently.
Right there.
Yeah. Or like, I could still see the cleaning, like the cleaner, I should say, like on the oven. And I'm like, oh, it would bother me, like these random little things. But now being in it, what you're saying of just kind of being okay, it sounds so nice, but it's so hard because it's what I'm working on too. in my mind, I started telling myself, like, okay, if I, like, let me count what I did do today versus what I didn't do. Because there's always going to be things I didn't get to. But then that caused issues too, because then I'm just like basing, not my worth, but like basing my days on my productivity still. And you really can't control one day to the next, especially when they're so young. So
they're little. And I think that for both of us, obviously you're in a completely new stage in life. And I'm trying to figure things out too. My kid's 5, but it's still so new to me 5 years later. I think that I just have to be okay with, look, this is my goal for what I want financially, and everything else just kind of has to wait. Like, we do sacrifice sometimes. Right now my season is I have to support David in his business because that's just how it is. He supported me for a really long time. It's just kind of like a back and forth, and that's fine.
I love that.
I just have to
do that. That's really what teamwork is. It's like taking a step back, taking a step up, just depending on the season.
Right.
For sure. I'm definitely have a new mindset and would love some help now. Like we're actually looking at somebody potentially just coming to live with us and help out however that looks. Like you're saying, I don't know if that's going to be like helping around the house or helping with kids or a mix of both, but we want to do the best for our family, and it means asking for help when you need it. And we need it because we got big goals for ourselves, for our kids.
Right.
And I think I just have to learn how to make sure I'm not like putting too high expectations on myself or anyone else.
Right.
That's
I agree.
Spot, I agree. I've always had some high expectations.
Of course. You want this, but you know, life is lifing for everybody. And as business owners, we just have to be okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Well, let's keep talking about the Dream Business Reset, because obviously, although our family and kids fuels us and like fuels that motivation piece, this episode and part of the value I want to give to our audience is really about taking action. So do you have like 2 or 3 favorite pages in this workbook that you can kind of walk us through?
Well, I'm gonna hide my child's page because she left us a little message. But I think the very first, I'm actually working on it right now, but the very first page, I like it because it kind of brings you through what did you do this year? What word comes to mind? You kind of just do, I have a little journal entry. It says, just brainstorm what feelings come up and just put a timer up. And for me, what I did is I went through, because I take content all the time. Yeah. I went through my camera roll and said, what did I do this year? I didn't even realize. I was like, I didn't even go anywhere. I went to Mexico in January. I didn't even realize that.
You're like, that was this year?
Yeah, that was just what happened. So just kind of going through that and just seeing what feelings did I have at that time. You know, I have screenshots in there of certain things. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that I felt this way. I didn't know I got this testimonial. Just kind of seeing through that really gives you that opportunity to just see your growth. Where were you? Screenshots of my socials, of my analytics, like all of that stuff, putting it onto paper is just amazing to see. Like sometimes we just compare ourselves to what we lack, like you were saying earlier.
Oh, so true.
But what about all the things that you accomplished? Like so many amazing things. So I would say this is one of my favorites.
Okay. Cool.
My next one would be building, and I don't have the page here. It's okay. It's okay, Em. I love you. But the next one would be building your dream date, although, you know, momming and entrepreneur things. But just even having your ideal day, like, what are my non-negotiables? Like, what do I want to do no matter what? Do I want to read a certain time of the day? Do I want to go to the gym a certain time of the day? And if you have nap time, like, maybe nap time is...
you for the kids and me.
Exactly. But what is it that you want to accomplish? And having an idea of your dream day, as a mom, your days will continue to change, but just for now, like you said, quarterly.
And I think exactly, I was going to say, sometimes it's lofty because I'm like, what is my ideal day? Like, I don't understand. But it's like, what is your ideal day in this season?
Right. Okay. Just right now for this month, maybe. And I know as kids, Malia changes so much. So I don't even have a same day every day, but I just know my non-negotiables. Like, I'm going to do this week, no matter what.
Right. Oh, I appreciate that a lot. I need to rewrite my daily non-negotiables because like I was telling you, like I've already kind of established my Q1 goals. And by the time this episode's coming out, it's like mid-January. So hopefully folks are either rewriting or looking at their goals, just affirming, confirming, maybe small edits. But at this point, it's like you still have a whole year ahead of you. So make sure you're clear on this season.
Right.
And those non-negotiables.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that we need to do that for sure. And I think one of the other last pages, well, I love this. I'm obviously biased. But I think that you should take a look at your socials, because for a lot of us, we're using social media as our platform to ¿cómo se dice? Just talk about our business, promote
ourselves,
promote ourselves, exactly. So you need to clean it up. Rebranding is like literally the biggest thing for me right now, which we haven't talked about yet, but I really wanted to just show up as a new person and like a new mindset, new colors, new fonts and all of that, and you being able to clean up your social and just show up like that female that you are, like really, really helps.
Yeah. So let's talk about rebranding then, because we already started bringing it up. And I know there's other pages in here more specific to money mindset, as we're talking about practical tips, rebranding. I think one of my challenges is the differentiation between rebranding myself versus rebranding my business. Is it one and the same? Does it all need to happen at the same time? Because so many people know me as the yoga person or the dancer. Like, yes, I owned a yoga and dance studio. Yes, that was a huge chunk of my life. But then there's this also like a whole community of folks who know me from my higher education work. And I am super excited that like all the skill sets I've built in the years, like in my passion areas, passion projects, because yoga and dance was really that passion joy area for me. And then higher ed was like, I enjoyed it, of course, in that season until I didn't enjoy it like at all. All those skill sets I use in real estate now. And it is like glorious for me. Like I'm having so much fun doing it, and it is hard work, and all my nerdiness comes out as I'm doing market research and like understanding loans, all the things, right? But most people don't know me as a real estate agent yet, or they're just getting to know me as a real estate agent. So it's been a huge shift in rebranding. All to say, I want some tips. So
I think the very first thing is when you are rebranding, it all comes down to a belief, right? Because when you're starting something new, you're like, okay, should I not? And this is so fresh because David's starting something completely new, and he was going through the same thing, like mindset, like, well, nobody knows me as this. They know me as this one person for the longest time. And for him, it was fitness. He went from fitness to real estate. How is he going to, they're so interlinked, but people don't see it. Right. So I think that the main thing is that you just have to own it. Like, you know what you're doing, and whether you are still learning or not, like, this is who you are going to, you need to just own it. That's number one. And then number two, use your old stories and like your old personas as just continuing to share. Like, look, this is where I was. This is like exactly how you said it. This is who I was. This taught me this. And now I'm putting it all into my now Lolo.
It's those transferable skills. Right.
So being able to do that on social and just telling your story and repeating your story. Look, this is who I was. This is what I learned. This is who I am now. Now they'll be like, oh, yeah, Lolo, the yoga real estate lady that has higher education, right? Like, they'll just know your story like the back of your hand.
Yeah. I'm hoping people will really come to know me as like the Silicon Valley realtor. Like, that is who I go to for all questions, real estate, like when it comes to the Bay Area, but that they can say like, I knew her when. Because then it's like also that relationship. Like, I love that you knew me when I was a yoga studio owner. Like, when everything I was doing was about women's empowerment and movement. Like, I still am passionate about those areas. So the fact that you know those things about me, like, that's how we get friendship.
Exactly.
Like, truly. Like,
and
you
community.
Knew me when.
Right. I love that. I think that you can do that and just continue sharing your story and just own it. Like, dude, I'm learning, and guess what? I'm taking it with me. That's what I tell my girls all the time that start this new business, and they're like, I don't know anything about XYZ. I'm like, it's fine. Take them through the journey, and they'll go with you, the people that want to go with you.
Sometimes it's necessary for us to reinvent ourselves, but we're just far too scared to do it, to take that action. So,
because it's scary to start something new.
It is.
And what if you get rejected? And what if you don't like it? Or what if you change your mind? Or XYZ thoughts that we have.
Right. So it's like fighting those thoughts so that you can go for it, especially when you feel called to something, which is, I mean, that's the stage I'm in. I literally had a waiting season that I felt like God called me to just like pause, like keep doing the work you're doing, but don't set any new goals until you feel very clear about what's coming next.
Right.
And after, I want to say it was almost 3 months, but 2 months for sure, almost 3 months of just waiting, praying, listening. I'm still working behind the scenes. I'm hustling, I'm doing all these things, but quietly.
And I think that we saw each other when we went to LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Was that when you were like kind of figuring things out, or girl. Like you had made your decision already?
Do you remember what month it was? I'm like,
it was like late summer. It had to be late summer, early fall.
I was already working on it then.
Because you told me something about real estate. I'm like, real estate? Okay. Yeah. I support whatever you do, but I think that you were kind of talking about it.
Yep. I had already made that decision very clearly by then, because it was around April, May that I officially went for it. And like the whole beginning of the year was like me dabbling in things, like praying, waiting, figuring it out. And then in May was when I had like gone full force. But I kept it quiet. Right. I think I've never really been that person to just jump into something like, hey, I'm doing this before I figured it out. Right. I'm always that person that wants to learn as much as possible so that when somebody does know me as something or can ask a question, I can back it up or at least know where to go to find the answer. Right. So that's this kind is of your
higher education things, because I'm the complete opposite. Yeah. I'm like, let's do this and have no plan whatsoever.
Girl, see,
I would drive
Anthony
you crazy.
Gets annoyed with me sometimes. This is probably you two are like, I'm like, Anthony gets annoyed with me sometimes because I'm like, look, I have to have a plan for everything.
That is so funny.
I am so good at adapting in terms of the physical adaptation. Like, yes, I'll adapt, I'll come up with a solution, whatever, I'm flexible, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to complain about it along the way, because I get so frustrated when plans don't work out, so I'm still like, nah. So yeah, I think me and David are probably alike in those ways.
Oh, for sure. 100%. He still does adapt, and he is the master of adapting a lot this past year.
Yeah.
And just starting new things too, because he, did his couches, but within 24 hours he's like, actually, I'm not going to do this anymore because I don't want to be cold. Okay, sir, I will support you in anything. And that's why I see him and like reinventing yourself. Like, you can do that if you make that decision, because I see him doing that all the time,
Yeah, I think there's some extra benefits to working quietly. And I think that is really about confidence building. Like, when you're working quietly, the work you're putting in and you're building that confidence, that credibility along the way. But at some point you have to get loud about what you're doing, because in real estate they say like you can't be a secret agent. If nobody knows what you're doing and they're not seeing the work, how are
they gonna hire you?
Exactly. How are they gonna know what you're capable of, and how are you gonna build trust? So it's like, yes, work quietly, but you can't do it forever. And that's kind of when we went to that event at LinkedIn, it was very much like, I'm already working on it, but I wasn't ready to be loud about it yet.
That is so cool.
Like, yeah, let's do it.
I was there. So cool.
You were there. We were there. Yay. And I was definitely pregnant at that time
you
too.
You were. You showed me. I'm like, what? Since when?
Yes, that was another interesting thing. I took my exam for my real estate license 1 month after having the baby, which was not the timing I planned, but it worked out.
Wow. Were you? I don't know. We're gonna have to put some photos or some links to some photos.
Yes, I know. It's like, here's the journey when nobody knew.
Right. That is so cool. Well, congrats.
Thanks, girl. Thanks. Okay,
so amazing.
But let's go back to the tips. So we're talking about rebranding yourself in general, and this reinvention piece. We've kind of highlighted the fear factor points, especially for women, but for anybody when it comes to reinventing yourself. But do you have any particular tips about the tangible aspects of rebranding, like you were talking about, colors, logo, things like that? Where do you start once you have the mindset right?
So for me, specifically on Instagram, because I know that's like one of the main platforms, I wanted to love posting on Instagram again. And there was a really long time that I had imposter syndrome and comparison and all that stuff. So I'm like, look, I need to figure out what I like to post about, what I like to talk about, what style of content. So I did a little bit of research. What are the people in my industry posting? What are people in opposite industries? And I kind of found a happy medium. And I want to be aesthetic on Instagram to what that means to me. Okay. Meaning, I don't want it to be perfect to where it's not sustainable. And if you come to my house and, I'm in a messy bun, I'm not like, you can't even recognize who I am. That's not the type of content that I want to do. I want to, if you see me on the street, you're like, oh, that's Xenia. Like, oh, that's Xenia. I don't want that. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that that happened. And I looked at, these are my non-negotiables for my posting. I want to do some faceless things on the days that I'm lazy. So you see some content of me typing or writing or walking. And that's just the content that I have in my back pocket.
Right.
That I can do. And I also made sure that I just want it. If you go on my page, I want you to know that it's me. So I'm going to put my pink, like every single thing that I have is like a little hint of pink or dark and moody, because that's the type of thing that I want. So cleaning up my bio, making sure that my highlights are clean, my offers are up, my link and bios are clean, like my website too, like everything. I want it to be synced, and you might have to slow down a little bit with posting in order for you to speed up.
That's a good point. So in the sense of, if you want to do it right, that quality piece over just getting it out there and putting out quantity.
Right. I think so. I know this may be controversial, but I do want you to just take a look at what it is that you want from your social. Like maybe you're trying to just get known, right? You want to be the Silicon Valley real estate agent. So what is it that you want? Do you want to just be known, or do you want leads, or do you want to build community? Like what focus do you want to do? And then figure out like the color and stuff, like that's important. But the brainstorming and the research, that's a little bit more
Absolutely
important.
That's a good point too, because I think of my content on any of my social media platforms as content pillars. So it's like, okay, on Instagram, for example, I want to bring value. Like that is the number one point. And then I want to build trust would be number two, or just as equal of importance. Is if I can give people value and build their trust by them like really getting to know me and seeing who I am with my family, and that who I am in one space, like you're saying, when you walk down the street, who I am in the online space is the same as what you're going to get in person, if not better when you meet me in person. Right. That equanimity is so important to me. But then on YouTube, while it's also like giving value, it's a different content pillar, because I'm not going to be posting, like, hey, here's my family. It's like, no, you'll get that on Instagram. You get to see me in different aspects. But on YouTube, you're going to get the information, the breakdowns, like that long form content, even us having this podcast, this is all part of my strategy for YouTube. So while it's things that I love to do, it's strategic too.
Yeah, 100%. That's what you have to take a look at when you are trying to rebrand yourself. Because for example, if you are doing a certain type of content now, but you want to go more into your real estate, okay, what type of content are you going to do? Testing things out too will happen. Maybe you do this type of podcast, but maybe you do virtual podcast the next one. Like there's so many different
on the
aspects.
list, girl. Yes. You read my mind.
Yeah, so there you go. That's what you have to do. You just kind of have to test it out, but also slow down to speed up.
Yeah. So if you're trying us, or if anybody is trying to kind of stay on trend with what's going on in online businesses, or, in your industry in MLM, what trends do you foresee for 2024 and beyond that might be changing to affect our branding?
I see a lot of faceless content coming up, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to get ready every day. And I've seen that coming up more and more, not just in like the digital course creation, but in every type of thing, because that's like really good content that you don't have to show your face. So you typing and you can still give tips and talk about your community and talk about your brand or whatever it is that you want to talk about. So that's definitely going to be a thing. Okay. 100%. I also see a lot of AI. AI is amazing already, like it's already popping, but I do see a lot more AI coming up. For example, we haven't talked about course creation because we just haven't, but I know in my course creation platform, it literally gives me the opportunity to write out course descriptions and AI quiz and AI generating.
I didn't think about that.
It's so amazing. There's so many AI tools out there.
Right.
So that's going to be on the rise 100%. And we have to take advantage of it.
So that's an interesting point, because I mean, I've definitely learned how to use AI now, and it's the prompts, right? Actually using the right type of prompting to get what you want, but then you still adjust to make sure that it's authentic and it's you. It's almost like a shortcut or a tool or a resource, but you can tell when people people's content is not genuinely them, like when it's only AI. So how can entrepreneurs better use AI for, you know, growing their business?
So it's specifically when you're talking about content, I have a lot of ways that I use it, and I make sure that I'm using it in my voice. So I'm going to use the tips, but I'm going to use it in my voice. If I say hella, I'm going to say hella. Like, it's not going to be super formal, but at the same time, making sure that you are open about it. Like, you don't want to trick people as if you're doing it by yourself. Like, be open. Like, yeah, I did use AI today. It's fine.
That's like before we got here, I was like, yeah, like we have this guest release form, and I'm like, okay, we need an addendum. I don't have time, girl. So I use ChatGPT. This is the prompt I gave them. How does this look? Like,
yeah,
great.
Just being open about that is going to help you, but also don't be shy, because I've heard people say this was not created by AI. Why is that a flex? Like, why not use it in order for you to get your result faster? Like, I don't see anything wrong with it.
What do they say? Done is better than, what is it?
Done is
perfect.
Better than, yeah.
Done is better than perfect. I always forget that because I try, like, I'm perfectionist. You know, I keep pushing.
Oh, you're one of those. You're one of those. Okay. I'm one of the ones that is like, done is better. Yep.
I'm working on it. I'm learning that done is better than perfect, but it's a work in progress.
Don't subscribe to my email, because there will be misspelling.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I'm like that person of like, I had to. In higher education, I became the proofreader for everybody's thing. So it's like my eye would just immediately go to, that's another.
Oh, you and David are so alike.
Is that a red flag? Proofreading.
That's so funny.
Okay, so then let's jump to the financial side of rebranding, because we're talking about what we put out there publicly, but rebranding also kind of happens behind the scene and how we interpret the work we're doing and like how we make meaning of it. So what about the financial points? And I know you have some pages on this in your workbook too. So whichever way, if you want to talk us through like a worksheet or just...
Let's see if Malia was the one. Which one was... Oh, yeah, I was. It's okay. We'll go on the other one.
She just drew all over the page.
Fine, I'll show you. It's okay. So, yes, you need a money plan 100%. I feel like sometimes as a creator or an online business owner, whatever industry you're in, sometimes we minimize ourselves, not just as new creators, but like as women. We just feel like, you know, the men are supposed to be the providers or whatever the case may be, but we have the opportunity to also be the providers, okay? I'm not telling you to not be in your soft girl era. It's okay. I'm just saying you could also make money. And one thing that you have to be open, you need to work on your money mindset. Like, what beliefs do you have about it? Like, what is it that you're not charging? Maybe you're undercharging. Maybe you should be charging a few thousand and you're like, it's okay. You don't have to pay me. What? No. We're not doing free things anymore, whether it's your friend or not. Like, no, we need to work on our money mindset, have a money plan. Like, maybe you don't know about investing. Like, I'm still learning as well, but that's okay. Being open to learning about what it entails to continue building your future.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to challenge and push back a little bit, because I feel like I went from, okay, I'm going to just give things away. Like, it's from my heart. Don't worry about it. To then like, no, like, you're putting in work. You need to charge for everything. To then give until you can't give anymore. As I think Hermosi says, I'm probably quoting that terribly, but essentially like give as much as you can until they ask you for more. And when they ask you for more, that's when like those pay options come. So tell me, in this journey for you, like, which one have you subscribed to more?
I think that I am in the middle now, because when I first started this back in 2017, I was like, never charge ever, because I want to just build my brand off of trust. But what started happening was they would come to me, hey, I want to start a business, or hey, I want to start something online, or show me how to rebrand myself, whatever. They would come to me just for the intro, and then they would go pay somebody else for the finishing product. And that was a constant just pattern. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I need to get some clients, and I'm definitely introducing them to something, but they always end up purchasing from somebody else. So I know that had to do with my belief in myself, and I wouldn't close the sale, but I would also never
You weren't putting out your offer. Yeah.
Right. I would never say, hey, I also do this. It was always like, yeah, you can pick my brain. So now I'm like, no, I tell people what I'm worth, but I also do give a lot for free.
Right.
Like, I give a lot for free on my channel.
I was going to say, like, your YouTube channel has so much value content.
Where I have so much, and I will continue to do that because I love doing it, but I also do charge, and I don't take a lot of one-on-one clients. They are a little bit more high ticket now, and I'm okay with that, and only certain people will pay that, and I'm fine.
Protecting your time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I won't push you too much then, because I think we're enough on the same page with that. But it's definitely an evolution of your thought, especially when you're a new business owner, a new entrepreneur, and then you're like over time building your credibility. But if you don't change your rates as your credibility and expertise grows, then what are you doing?
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Okay. Tell us more about the money plan. Like, what are some tangible?
This kind of gives me This kind of gives the explanation. It says, here are 10 steps to examine your current money habits and things like tracking your spending. And although that doesn't seem like a big deal, but we were spending so much money on Amazon. Like, I remember spending for a good year, we were spending $1,000 a month on Amazon. Why?
Oh, a month?
Why?
I mean,
I don't even know what.
I can't say nothing.
You're like, let me track.
The way these wipes and diapers are adding up, I haven't looked at that number yet.
Right. But even it wasn't like everything was usable. It was just like not smart things. Don't even ask me where that stuff is that I bought. So us tracking that really helped us really scale back our spending, and even like subscriptions. Like, what are you even paying for? Maybe paying in full for certain things.
Things get lost for sure.
Right. So definitely doing something like that. Also identifying your financial goals. Like, okay, if you have debt right now, how can you stop spending and make more so you could be in a surplus, not always being, at the paycheck to paycheck in entrepreneurial life.
Right.
So it just gives you different steps and quick tips. I'm sure I'm not a financial advisor. Okay. Just a disclaimer. Don't come for me, but just little tips that have helped David and I. And they have helped a few of my friends too. Hey, I know that not going to Starbucks is not going to make you rich, but it will definitely help you get closer to your goal.
And for me, I was like, I don't want to be spending money at Starbucks all the time, but sometimes for me to make money, I need the Starbucks. Right. So it's a give and take.
Right.
It's a balance.
I feel like we need to talk about budget with you. I don't know. I have a feeling though.
You know what? I'm actually really great at budgeting because I had to be, especially in my college years. But it's one of those things that depending on the season I'm in is how much I pay attention to it. So now I'm coming into a season where I want to be way more conscious of budget because it's part of my new business plan, my rebranding, new career shift. But I definitely got comfortable for a period of time where I was like, okay,
it's fine.
I'm going through the habits and the routines where I'm not looking at budget because I'm thinking I'm paying the same thing that I have been. Like, oh yeah, I pay the same amount for groceries. I pay the same amount here. It's just routine. But like you said, slowly you start doing little things and ordering those extra things here and there that you're like, wait a second, I'm not using my budget anymore. So I have to go back to it.
What's going on with my account right now?
Exactly. And then, as family grows, you got to change your budget. Right. Your budget cannot stay the same.
I agree.
Season is different.
Definitely.
Ooh, okay. I got let's see, maybe two more.
Whatever you tell me, I'll go with it.
Okay, cool. So I want to think a little bit about motivation now because we've been breaking down when you want to rebrand and reinvent yourself. We're essentially creating a plan. It's not just something you do. You shift your mindset, you create a plan, and you start taking action. What about these days when you just lose your motivation? How do you keep going? When you feel unmotivated, and maybe with clients that you've worked with, how do you help them to stay motivated in this rebranding process? Because you're definitely going to get those moments of rejection and highs and lows.
One thing that I do understand is that motivation comes and goes. I know I'm going to give you such a man answer, but just motivation doesn't really mean anything because as women, our moods just come up and down, and sometimes we just literally it doesn't matter, or your kid spills milk and like they piss you off, and too bad, you still got to go do the podcast. Like, you know, motivation doesn't really matter, but you know, discipline needs to be like hand in hand. But I do understand that if you're unmotivated for long enough, you are gonna quit. And one of the things that helps is looking at your wins. Like looking at your wins, kind of taking a look at what is it that I did this week. And every single week, David and I just kind of look at how was our week, like kind of reset. So it's every Sunday for us. We do our grocery
it together.
Yes, we're in the same room. He does it his way. I do it my way. Okay. I do it with colors.
It's like a ritual, but you do it on your own, just on your own together.
Yeah, on our own. And he's next to me. He's very like black and white Excel sheet type thing. And I'm like, I need markers and a notebook. Like, what are we doing here? But we pretty much, after we do groceries and all, we take a look at what is it that we did well this week. And for me, I look at, again, I go through my calendar, I go through my photos and all that. Like, what happened this week that helped me? And for him, he also includes our budget. So he kind of goes through our spending, like what we did, and it's his accounting. He likes to do it. And then he yells at me a few times like, hey, what's going on here? But that's kind of our way to take a look at where we're winning and where do we need to improve and continue to improve as far as like money, obviously, in that way.
Yeah, I love reflection, but that like weekly check-in is not something I do currently. And I think I'm going to need to adopt that because I really like that. You're not necessarily focusing on what you missed out on. You're focusing on those wins, but it's regulating so that you don't get to the end of Q1 and you're like, what did I do with all my time? Like, no, you're having those like weekly check-ins. Because I do it for work, like with my broker. Like we talk KPIs every Monday. Right. Monday mornings, we have our call, we talk our KPIs and like, did we do what we needed to do? Right. And it's a quick check-in, but we don't always do it for everything to see how it affects like groceries and spending. Right. So I like this.
I know that it's like more, I know a lot of it is around money and money, but it's not just that. You can literally do it with anything. Like your socials, how are your analytics? Did you hit your subscribers? Like anything that you can. It's way better to do it weekly. That way the first of the month is not a freaking headache with like what just happened to the month.
True. And I think that's one of the things that I've noticed for a lot of business owners that I've talked to is when we're talking finances, we check in far too late. So if I'm asking your numbers, like how much did you make this month? Like, oh, we're in the middle of the month, so I don't know yet. But that would be an easy practice to start integrating so that you never can't, that was like a reverse word, so that you can always answer that question. You can always say, yes, here's where our numbers are and here's what we're projected to do this month and this year and so on and so on.
I just realized that I'm sure I already knew this, but I realized that the company that I work with kind of integrated that because we check in 1st, 15th, and 30th. Oh, okay, and that's just like a team thing that we do. And we're like, how are your numbers? You know, you need to get it. So we already unconsciously
it's part of the system.
Yeah. Right. It's part of the system.
That's the best way.
Interesting.
Build it in. And that's like one of the biggest things. Like we could have a whole separate podcast on that. But whether you're working on your own or with a team, whether you're working in a team or you're running the team, you have to systematize things. And the less systems you have, the more you're going to drive yourself crazy pretty much and just be like working endlessly. Exactly. And that's where I think it's like a recipe for burnout if you don't have any systems.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I learned that the hard way. Like, I think I've already told that story on the podcast too many times because burnout's so common and so real. We're just not taught to systematize things enough.
Right.
But, okay, I digress. Okay, I like this question. So looking back, what advice do you wish you had received when starting your entrepreneurial career?
Speaking of systems, probably having more, operating procedures and having that systematized. Sistemas, you know what I'm saying. That would probably be the main thing, but also that it doesn't have to be lonely. You just have to find a happy medium. You have to find your tribe, people, like go network, go find other industries. You don't have to just stay in your industry. And if you come out of your shell, like you will be able to see that entrepreneurship is the same for everybody. Like everyone's out here trying to make it. Everyone's working. There's ups and downs, and it doesn't like you won't have to compare yourself. Expanding yourself in not just your own little industry bubble, like, is going to help you so much. I think I learned that this year. Yeah. For sure.
Okay. So when you've done these things successfully, like you followed that advice of systematizing now, even though we may not have known it before,
right?
You've rebranded, you've worked things out with your husband to provide for your family too, and just all these shared support systems going on. How do you know when you're successful?
I think for me is having that peace, like peace. I would say this year feels the most successful to me, and it doesn't necessarily mean it was like the best financial year. I talk about this all the time online and stuff. Like, financially, 2020 was insane for us. Like, it was crazy, but there was no balance. There was less communication. It was not what I feel now. So for me, success means having the peace to live life on my terms and being able to, that doesn't mean that, you know, we're not working toward financial success. It's just, it's living life on our terms and being able to love what I do and continue to find passion. And I could just say peace, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes sense to me, especially like woman to woman, like that peace of mind and peace in our heart is huge. Like when we're operating from a place of abundance and not just stress and survival mode, like everything starts getting better and more and increasing in all the positive ways.
So I haven't really talked about, do you want to know some things? Oh my God.
Give me the juice. What's the juice, girl?
So last year was a really hard year for me because in the industry that I'm in, it's very, a lot of people, right? It's very, there's a lot of women and feelings, and it's just a lot of feelings. That's the only way. Right. So it was really hard for me to put boundaries up and let go a lot of people. And that also contributed to the peace that I have now, and stop comparing and just like that negative energy. So that's why I would say it's peace. Yeah. Because I feel like I now have the strength to not have those type of people in my life, and if they do come back in, I can have the strength to say no, put the boundary up, and do what I want to do and love to do.
Right. Whoever did my girl Xenia wrong, we ain't for you.
You're so funny.
But for real, it's like we need that community to lift ourselves and lift each other up. If you're just constantly getting negative energy, and you know, I talked with Anthony about this when I announced, like, yeah, I'm a real estate agent. I got congratulations from a lot of folks, but you can tell when some are genuine versus some is like, we'll see how she does. Like, not everybody's for you. Right. And sometimes we have to learn it the hard way.
Right. Yeah. And it sucks because you do want to win with others and like, let's go together. Exactly. And it's not going to happen.
It doesn't always have to be a competition, but if people are operating from a hurt place or a place of survival themselves, or, you know, who knows? Who knows what it is? If people feel like they have to compete, they're going to be sending negative energy your way, and you just got to deflect it.
Right. But I agree. And it does suck, but it's okay because we're learning, we're rebranding, and we're going to continue to grow.
And hormones are real.
Yeah, it is. Sorry. Girl talk.
It's the thing we got to deal with. But okay, that's right. I love this. Is there any last things or pieces of advice you want to give folks listening today?
I think that you just have to be open. It hasn't been an easy year for a lot of the people I've talked to online. They talk a lot about it. I don't know if I'm just like, I just look like an open book that you can just like tell me everything and it's okay. I'll accept it. So I understand that it hasn't been a good year for a lot of people. And I would just say to just start over. That's why I am heavy on the rebrand, because if you just start over, just start now. It doesn't matter if it's December today or if it's March today. Like, just start now. Yeah. Just start from scratch. If you haven't posted in a while, just start now. If you haven't done your podcast in a while, just start now. If you haven't talked to your customers in a while, okay, go send them an email now. Like, just start now. Just let go of all of that animosity that you have toward yourself. Yeah. A lot of the times, big. Like, we're just so hard on ourselves. Like, I haven't posted, I didn't do this, I didn't make this money. Like, it's fine. Just start now. I would say that's the biggest.
That's a great way to end it, because it's so true. We hold so much against ourselves, and then we just start using it as excuses instead of looking forward. So let's look forward. I think that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. So, of course, I'll include everything in the description. But for those listening, where can we find you?
You can find me at Xenia MB Herrera everywhere. And my website is xeniamb.com.
Xenia with an X.
Yes.
Yes. I love it. And then, of course, what she was walking us through was the dream business reset for, I mean, you can do it for any year, but obviously we're here in 2024. Right. So it is not too late. Like, please head over to the link in her bio or wherever you might be finding this and grab that. I know I'm going to be using a lot of these pages in the workbook as I'm like resetting for my newer career. But
I know.
So
congrats.
Thank you, girl.
That's going to be so amazing. And oh my God, I know you want to go. Hold on. Hold on, I'm not done. The fact that you're starting a whole new entire life, that's literally amazing because you get to restart being a mom and your business
at the same time.
Exactly. And you have like it's perfect. It's literally the perfect start. You could just completely rebrand yourself. So it's going to be so exciting.
I know. It's like, it's a journey that's been going on behind the scenes,
right?
But now y'all get to see this journey.
I know. It's going to be good.
Thank you so much for everything, Xenia. I'm excited to see how you continue growing in your business and how your clients grow too, because those receipts on socials are great to see.
Yay! I'm so glad.
Yay. And that's it, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Here to Uplift podcast. I hope you're finishing this episode feeling inspired and ready to take action. We want to keep the stories and inspiration coming, so please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with a friend. We really appreciate it. Welcome to the Uplift community, friend. Please join us for another episode soon.